Are we up? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Refresh. Did it take a few seconds there? I hit the start streaming 5 seconds early, as I usually do. Did it take a few more seconds this time? Mr. Francis Hunga is there today. Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking care of things yesterday. What happened yesterday was explained, wasn't it? I know I may have forgotten about it the day before, but I did explain it quite a few times on stream. I had to go to the lumber yards on Friday. Their staff made an appointment for me down at one of the lumber dealers. They had heard there was some cherry available. Found any wood? I posted about it over on the fan page actually last night. We did and we didn't. Oh, no, just a minute. Just getting started today, so hang on. Let me get running first before we try and talk too much. Just a sec. Seems all right, I'm not sure. Yeah, we had heard there was some wood, some cherry, and like I said, we've been trying to network and put word out that we're looking for some. And we heard word that one of the suppliers down there had some slabs, so we went to see it. It turns out we weren't the first people to come and look at it. Somebody else had beaten us to it, Mr. Matsumura, of the guy who's supplying different tools and wood and stuff. And he had chalked his name on a few of them, so I guess he had made arrangements to purchase them. And he had, of course, picked the best ones, as we would have done had we been first. Paper today is difficult. It's going to need carefuler rubbing for a longer time. It's doing okay. The girls warned me that it might be the kind that pulls up. The surface fibers might be coming off it. It seems okay. Anyway, about the wood, I said we missed the action on this one. We picked up one piece that might be useful for something. Not quite sure. We missed the good pieces because they'd all been taken. So, but we asked the guy, when did you get it? Where did you get it? Will there be more coming? And he talked about the next batch he expected to get. He's going to some, I don't know what they're actually called. In layman's terms, some auctions. Up in the north of the country. There's some places where the lumber dealers from the big town meet with the lumber dealers from up in the country, and to look at logs that have been cut and harvested over the winter. They cut them in the winter, or they cut the trees down in the winter when the sap is low, so that the wood is easier to dry and more stable. So there's these auctions that happen up there in December, January, February, during the winter months. And he said, what are you interested in? Which I look for, and we told him, and he's going to. So So we've given him an idea about the kind of stuff we're trying to find. It is pulling up a bit, a little bit of pilling. And as he's up there on these auctions over the next couple of months during the winter, he said he's going to keep an eye out for somebody he thinks might be suitable for us. He'll give me a call or send me a video clip or something if he finds something. And I will either fly up to see it with him to look at the log or just give him the go-ahead. I mean, for me, looking at a log is not going to tell me a whole lot about what's inside it. But so it could be that this is the start of something interesting. We'll see. That's going to need an investment because a log like that is, we're talking about something about 2 to 3 meters long. And the kind we're looking for would be about 40, 50, 60 centimeters wide. It would weigh a ton. But anyway, the process has started. Yeah, it's sunny. We've got the hotel reflection. Just a minute. As we've seen this before in this desk. There's a hotel about 2 blocks down, very high hotel. And it's a sunny day in Tokyo. And this window faces north. The window faces north, so we get the reflections from the row of windows on the hotel over there. Is more about the wood. If we do get that log, or do get a log, sort of, it's only the beginning of the problems. Yesterday out in Kiba, the lumber arts, we were doing 2 or 3 things. We went to see that one guy. We also went to see another shop who specializes in resawing, slicing large timber into smaller pieces. Because we have a kind of a special requirement. It's really difficult to describe these things in words. I'm thinking that one of the next YouTube videos should be just devoted to explaining what we're doing with the wood and stuff. But we need the logs to be sliced in a way that nobody is slicing them anymore. It's really hard to describe this in words. If you imagine, just a second. If you imagine you're looking at the end of a log and you see the circular pattern of rings, right? It starts like a bullseye, there's a dot in the middle and the rings go out and out and out and out and out. If you imagine that log being sliced, maybe we can draw a picture. Here's the log, okay, this is what it's a big, nice, wide, fat log. The way they slice it these days is they just go through and slice it in about 10 centimeter pieces, about 3-4 inches. They slice it like this straight away before it splits and pops and checks, because an untouched log it would just sort of just start slicing up, splitting up. So they slice it like this, and then what they do, they will slice these again. The point being, they get boards out of a piece like this, and the boards are mostly with the grain standing up. If you think about the resulting board, it has grain standing up like this. That's what they want for the furniture makers, because it doesn't cup and bow easily. It's terrible for us because the wood grain is strong on the surface of the wood. What we want is this piece here, like this. So the piece of wood that we want for our uses has grain like this. And it means you end up with a wood grain pattern like this. Excuse me. I don't know the English words for the two kinds of cut. Where this is quarter sawn, and this is maybe called flat sawn. I'm not sure. That's what we want. But out of the normal stuff that they slice in the markets, all of these pieces from the middle of the wood is no good because it's all, the grain is all on edge. Now back in the old days, before, you know, when they were still making wood for woodblock printers, I like the sunshine, but it's not making it possible, is it? What they used to do in the old days was this: when the log came down and they were trying to make wood for woodblock printmakers only, not for making furniture or anything else, they would slice it like this. I'll try and draw this freehand. Make a single cut there. What they would do is a 5 shape, like a pentagon. They'd slice this, and slice here, and slice here, and slice here. Then they'd go round and round and round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, this is not being done with mechanical saw. This is two guys with rip rope going down a log. But you see where we're going with this. Every single plank coming off that log, they get smaller and smaller as you go inside. That's fine. You get smaller prints and larger prints. They get smaller and smaller. But every single piece of wood coming off that log has the requisite proper grain. Every one, until you get to the middle and you don't use the middle part. This is what we want. So this guy we met yesterday, I don't know what day it is, this guy we met yesterday is going to step 1. He's going to see if he can identify a reasonable log of cherry wood, maybe 1 meter, 2 meters, whatever he can find up in the auctions out there. He's going to call me if it's okay. I'll tell him go ahead, bid on it. My maximum, it'll be something like, I don't know, depends how big it is, how wide it is, how long it is, $10,000, $15,000, whatever. When you buy a log, that's the kind of price you got to pay. Then we're going to try and wrestle it back to Tokyo. And then when we get it here, we have to do this to it. Yesterday, that guy I told you, we visited the place who was doing the reslicing. We explained this. I drew the, he knows this and all that. I said this. He said, what have you been smoking? He asked me, we don't do that. What are you talking about? Where did you make this up? And I explained the old days. And he said, no, we can't do that. Our machines, they can clamp the log and slice, slice, slice. These machines only allow him to clamp, slice, 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 or maybe then turn it and clamp, slice, slice again. They can only work on 90-degree angles. And we want whatever it is. What's 1/5 of 360? So that's the position we're in. We've started this chain. We're going to look for a log. If something suitable comes up, if we can afford it. This is maybe, I'm going to try and retarget the Patreon money for this project maybe. If something comes up and something we can afford it, and if we can get it back to Tokyo, then it'll be step 2. We'll have to search and try and find some old saws. They must be in the antique market somewhere. Try and find some old saws and give that a try. 60 degrees, turn it 60 degrees, turn it 60 degrees. It'll make some real fun video, I tell you, if we don't kill ourselves with it. Oh, something else I meant to ask about the audio. I don't see anybody complaining. Is the audio okay today? Trying something a little bit different here today. Audio's okay. What I've done is I haven't clipped the mic to myself. I've clipped the mic to the bench in front of me here. Shouldn't have taken that break to talk, you know. You pay for it. Right away you pay for it. The block moisture gets different. The log process, that's going to take years, you know. I mean, step one, this winter, find a log if we can, get it back to Tokyo, then slicing it up the way I said, that'll be happening right away because you don't wait for the thing to split. And then it's seasoning. The planks you cut out have to sit there, and it depends how thick they are, how wet they were at the beginning, and what's your environment, but they'll be there for a couple of years, 2-3 years minimum. So even if we find a good log, it's nothing that will make its way into the prints for a few years. You know. The other mic, I think it's not going to pick up my body noise anymore, but it's not too far from the laptop. The laptop fan is up and running, so it's probably picking up some fan noise. Is the focus better today too? I think I'm trying something different again too. I didn't tell it to focus here. I told it to focus on that white ball. Itsumo at least for a while yet. We might be coming to the end of the tunnel because the post office deadlines are now approaching rapidly. We've passed some deadlines now for different countries for mailing before Christmas. So the orders are going to taper off now. Says he, hopefully. Not hopefully, but you know what I mean. In the meantime, behind, the girls here, Suga-san and Ishikawa-san, they've been printing New Year's cards. The New Year's prints. They're now up to what, 650, I think. So. Oh, where's the... Yeah, I'm not pressing that hard today, actually. I know it's a bit misleading. It depends on the paper, the condition of the paper, how moist it is, how the sizing is. What I'm doing today, you might, if you've been watching me do these before, I'm rubbing a bit longer than you might have seen me rub the other day. The other day, the sizing was just sort of perfect and the paper was good, so I can rub really quite firmly for a short time. Today, this paper's a little bit on the weak side. It's pilling a bit. Some of the fibers are pulling up. So I can't press quite so firmly. So I'm pressing lighter for a bit longer. So it's a bit troublesome, but we get through it this way. I think I'm okay. Very, very slight pilling. It's okay. No, we're talking about, you're confusing two things. The print part is when I'm saying gently, gently, gently. That's this part, the brush, the brush, the brush. The brush is where the wear and tear happens on the block. On that block I showed you in the video, it's this part, rubbing with the brush on lines, that does the wear and tear. The brush bangs the lines. There's no wear on a block like this, or nothing except around the edges. It's the brush that hurts the blocks, not the baron. Sorry if I didn't make it clear in that video. I tried to. I picked up a brush and talked about rubbing it. Talked about softening the hair of the brush. That's where the block wear comes, from that tool. I hear the question beep. Just give me a minute. I'll try and get to it. And if you've got a block that has some really, really super fine lines and areas, you can damage it with this thing by actually pressing too hard. So you can actually break it. But the wear and tear on the edges comes from the brushes. Excuse me here. Do the brushes need to be replaced? They wear out constantly. As we're using them, they're wearing out and getting shorter. Then we dress them on the shark skin. That wears them out even more. Brushes are a, what's it called? They're a consumable product, just like my knife blades. There are no brushes left from the old days. They get used up. They wear out. Final product. There's a link to it. The print. I think I linked to it. There's a scrolling text under the video here. I linked to a web page that's got the final print that I'm making today. Somebody else has got it there. Thank you. I still love that. You know, you mention something and people on the chat stream find it instantly. You know, it's not something we could do while I'm printing here today, but it would be really fun one day to make it into sort of a contest. I mumble something about there's this and this on my website. Maybe you can find it over blah 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 blah, and the chat goes crazy trying to find it. Who can be first to pop it up? It would be a fun activity one day. Not today, please. I got to focus on it. In the website, even now, when I try and find things on my website, quite frequently the first thing I do is I just go to Google. You know, you can Google a phrase, and then site:woodblock.com or whatever, and Google limits its search to that specific domain. And I do that all the time, trying to find stuff. You know, I can't. Only way to find things. There's like 20,000 pages now in there. I don't even know. My website's older than some of the people watching this stream. 1996 it started. I wonder, is that an order for the owl? We've got a circular pattern happening here. I print them, people see this, they order it. Because they order it, I have to print more, they see it. If it was, thank you. The girls yesterday were telling me, Dave, don't do this on the stream tomorrow. Do something else, anything else. Go clean the floor and let them watch, you know. Don't do more owls on the stream. Yeah, I didn't have dancing hamsters, but it was pretty funky. It still is. His old page is still in there, you know. There are some old pages, original pages in there in places. $1996. God. That would be a fun contest one day. Don't start this now, but to try and find the oldest page. Don't even think about it. Just be a waste of time, because some of the older ones have been renewed, some haven't. But, Next job, oh, let's see, finished 1¼ of the groups there, so we go back. The paper in the stack here they prepared for me yesterday, it's, I don't know how many sheets there are, maybe 50, 60. They split in 4 groups. So I've just finished the first group, the first 1/4 of it. We've done 1 coat, so now we go back and do a second coat to richen up the blue. And this one I have to be careful because the paper now is very, very soft. So I've got to be quite a bit lighter in touch with the tool here. Might look the same from that end, but I'm touching much lighter, dancing over it. Still trying to make sure I get every spot. There we go, much deeper. It's pulling up a bit more than I would like though, you know. Yeah, I think what we'll do, it's pulling up a bit more than I would like. I think what we'll do is we'll leave this batch to sit for longer to cook. We'll move on to the next batch and do the first color on the next batch. Better to be safe than sorry, I think. What's all the British people doing? This is supposed to be the stream for Americans, or you know, North Americans. You guys are supposed to be in bed. What do you mean didn't like us? Who's us? Don't forget to read my question. Oh, yeah. Okay. There's a question in the box, isn't there? I already forgot about it. Sorry about that. All right, let's find the question box. Here we are, Twitch questions too. Yes, for answer, first question is yes. Okay, first one's easy. William Sam. The green was a mixed green. it's usually what they call kusairo. It's mixed in the bowl. It's not an overprinted color. They hadn't figured that much out by then. That's the first question. Now, Williamson's asking about a specific way that the color was mixed in a specific era of printmaking. The green that you see in those prints, William, was mixed in the bowl. It wasn't an overprinted green, absolutely. Then the other question is, Patreon. What happened yesterday with Patreon? Patreon changed their system unilaterally. I didn't know it was happening. They told the creators a few hours before they told the supporters. They didn't ask us our permission. They just told us what they were doing. Patreon has added extra fees. What they've done was, if people paid whatever $1 on Patreon, Patreon themselves took 5 cents as their system fee for it. And then another 5 cents, 5%. Patreon takes 5% as a fee. Then another 5% in aggregate was taken to cover credit card processing charges. And I guess some of the creators, people who put the stuff up, are complaining because credit card companies usually take about 2.9% or something or whatever. And Patreon was skimming 5% to cover that. Or whatever, I've never complained about that. It's just part of the thing. So the creators up to now have been getting 90% of whatever anybody pledged. If you pledged $1 on Patreon, 90 cents came to me. That's the past system. Just a minute. Anyway, Patreon now has decided to take the credit card fees separate and charge the credit card fees separately to the people who have backed Patreon. I think this is a huge mistake. Asking people to pony up even more money on top of what they're already paying, I think, is a huge mistake. During the night, a number of people, a lot, I don't know what the count is at the moment. I can check and see. We're down about 30 people since last evening, and I don't get any knowledge of that. When people leave, I don't get a message like such and such has left or why or whatever. I guess they don't want people to be chasing patrons, But I can just see the overall count is down about 30 people overnight. So I don't know why they did this. Why bug people for more money? I don't get that. I really, really don't get it. I was very happy with the 90%. Nothing else to say. It's not my decision. I think, the market will sort of take care of itself. If Patreon screws up badly, somebody else will jump in. Well, Kickstarter already has. Kickstarter has a Patreon competitor now. They're calling it Drip. As in, money drips in, bit by bit by bit. So if Patreon screws up too badly, they'll be gone. The other thing that really bugged me about the Patreon change yesterday, we got the email from them. It's a standard email. It wasn't to me personally. It was an email. And it was so hokey. They're putting bad news out, but it was all full of sunshine and we're improving the Patreon experience and blah, 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 blah. It was just so what's the word they talk about? Not corporate speak or something. I don't know. It was just whatever. Nothing to talk about. I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on. This policy is probably initiated by the same person that designed their logo. No, not savage, just opinion. I mean, come on, something happened yesterday, and my opinion of it is fairly negative. And that's the way these things happen. And whenever something's become established for a while, when people change it, a lot of the more reactionary types find the change not so good. You know. I imagine, there's been a real backstory on the Patreon thing. When you think about the negotiations that must have been going on between the Patreon people and the credit card companies. Patreon is a big, big, big merchant. We're talking, tens of millions of dollars every month. And they probably tried to play hardball with the fee negotiations and stuff. I don't know. And lost, I guess. I don't know. So they put the fees onto somebody else. I don't know the backstory, anything about it. The thing that surprises me about this is when I was back in the merchant, like in Canada, we had a music business. I was working for a music company. We had merchant accounts with credit card companies. It was the old chunk, they used to charge credit cards and stuff physically. And in the card contract was always the demand from the card companies that you're never allowed to raise your prices with a credit card fee on top. This was in the contract to become a merchant with a credit card taking ability. You were never allowed to charge extra to people. You couldn't give a discount for cash. You couldn't charge extra for people paying by credit card. And this is now what Patreon is doing. So either that clause is long gone from credit contracts, or it's a new world, I don't know. But charging people extra for credit card processing is against all the credit card companies' rules. Anyway, enough of that. These prints are, what is it now? It's Saturday morning here in Japan, in Tokyo. Excuse me again. It's Saturday morning in Tokyo. These prints will be posted, will be mailed to people. Oh, I've lost my scissors. Where? Lefty trying to use right-handed freaking scissors again. Where am I? Do all your staff work Saturday? Stop up. Ah, give me a break. I was up late last night again. Like I'm never. They tell you, do they work Saturdays? No, 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 just the shop people. There'd be nobody else up here in the printing benches on Saturday. You know, they're home with their family, you know. And today, actually, one of the staff shops guys booked off. It's supposed to be, you know, Matsumura-san and Kawai-san today in the shop, and Matsumura-san booked off, so it's just me and Kawai-san to down in the shop today. Nobody up here in the print room. It's going to be a busy, busy, busy day. Cameron's off the weekends always. He's a Monday to Friday guy, so we never see him on the weekends. He's also a church guy, with Sunday for him is always an off day. But these owls, excuse me, they're due to be shipped Monday morning. So I've got to get them started this morning. Worked on tonight, and I guess tomorrow morning I will be still back here. Well, I won't be doing the background color. Tomorrow morning I'll be doing, you know, whatever, the rest of the colors. And then Sunday afternoon we have to ship the package to the Ome workshop. Oh, this is a thick sheet of paper. It felt like 2 sheets. Are you sure it's not 2 sheets? It's really a super thick piece of paper. This is not going to be a good print. It's not going to make it through the process, I think. Whoa! It feels like a piece of cardboard on there. No way, this one is not going to make it. You have to adjust the moistening based on how thick the paper is. And this particular sheet is like double thickness. I think they've stuck tube together by mistake. No. If they were all that thick, they would have had to have been moistened much more. It takes much more moisture, much more water to get through the paper. The thinner it is, obviously, the less watering it needs to get the proper softness. You don't feel sad I'm working on weekends. It's my business, you know. It's my affair, my business, our life here. So there's no problem. I'm not like having to work on weekends. This is what I do. It was a funny one yesterday. A couple of funny ones. After I got back in the afternoon, after being out in the morning, you know, there'd been, I guess, a guy had dropped in the morning, a YouTube viewer, you know, a YouTube fan, and he'd really been hoping to see me. Whatever. So the staff said, well, no, Dave's out of the lumber yards. He'll be back, you know, whatever, 1 o'clock or something. So he came back around 1 o'clock, somewhere like 1:30 or 2 or whatever. A very pleasant young man. We're chatting, and he mentioned, he sort of dropped like it was something special. He said that he was a YouTube viewer and really enjoying it, and he decided to, you know, make a pilgrimage over here to Japan to come and look at Japan, and also to see me, you know. So just a minute here. And this is fun. We get to, you know, people like this quite frequently. It's fun. Chatted with them for a while and this and that. Talk about this, talk about that, you know. When the people like I come to see me, I try to avoid talking about myself too much because they know who I am and what's going on, but, you know, I don't know anything about them, so, you know. And while we were talking, he'd been here about 15 or 20 minutes or so, I guess, you know, he had, you know, I know what he was edging towards. He wanted to take a picture, but he was a little bit too shy to say so because it might seem a bit impolite for some people, so. So we're almost getting to the point where he was able to ask for a picture. When somebody else came in, somebody else had come into the shop and the staff had sent him in the back room. They knew I was already talking to somebody else, so they sent this next guy through. The next guy comes in, it was a couple. And they start out exactly the same way as this other man. Said, hey, we've been watching you on YouTube, you know. And I'm like, okay, you know, thank you very much, good, welcome, you know, here. And the first guy did a kind of double take. Like, there's somebody else who has been watching Dave on YouTube and who has come here. And he sort of really hadn't realized this. He had sort of felt it was a bit unique that somebody would take the trouble to come here and whatever, when he hadn't really realized that we get we get a lot of visitors here. It's part of our daily life, part of our daily routine. It's fun. It's part of who we are now and what we're doing. But it was really funny for him to realize that it was just something normal. So we took all our pictures together. Where's my sheet? I lost my sheet. What did I do with it? Anybody see? There's a lot of variation between the sheets in this batch, you know. Quite a lot of variation from sheet to sheet. In thickness and in the feeling. Do you have a Mokuhankan bone nenkai? No, what we're going to do this year, I know it's really hard for us to get all the employees together, you know. For a company that, you know, the people all come to the same office every day, that kind of stuff, it's easy for them to arrange events. But many of our staff, the shop staff, they're part-time. They only come once or twice or 3 times a week. And many of them come from quite a long distance. Our shipping staff out in Ome, it's a 2.5-hour train ride to get here to Tokyo. So to have an evening party and something means they're ending up here at they get back home, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's really, really difficult to organize a company-wide event. We did, before we opened Asakusa, when we were all working out in Ome, we used to do that. We had a couple of picnics, summer picnics, we had a Christmas party one year. We did those things before Asakusa, but now that we've got this shop and we're all split up all over the place, it's more difficult. And Doi-san, our oldest employee here, you know, the guy who knows most about the old prints, he's been trying to organize excuse me, he's been trying to organize a Shin Nenkai, a New Year party. But he's having tough going because not everybody wants to do this. You know. So I don't know. Probably it's not going to come. Not going to happen, I think. You know, in a more traditional Japanese company, somebody organizes these things, they put the word out, and that's it. You all have to be there. Family obligations or whatever is irrelevant. And we're trying to sort of play the game the other way around, you know. The people here come to work and do a good job, hopefully. But when they're not here, bang, they're, you know. I don't email people at night and stuff like that. Well, Cameron, sometimes, right? Is he listening? Another thick one. There must have been one sheet. I cut these from strips of 5. So there's going to be, in this batch of whatever it is, 50 or 60, there's going to be 5 really thick, heavy ones. How are we doing for time? We're still okay, right? What's this? Dave used to do this as a hobby. Now he's stuck making owls all day. Come on, come on, come on. I'm enjoying this. You know, these owls are going to go to good homes. Happiness for people. 200-year happiness. There's no downside to this. You know. There's people out there, salarymen, stuck on the trains this morning, jammed into train carriages. Life could be an awful lot worse than this. Oh, here's the last of the second group. So this is halfway through my stack. There's a bit of tease up still. Some of the fibers are pulling up just a fraction here. I can't show you on the camera. There's no way. They're just too delicate here. But some of the fibers are pulling up just a fraction. Okay, that's halfway. So let's put this one back to bed. Reach in. Must be 2 more stacks in the back there somewhere. Height. Happy little owls, yeah, whatever. It's true. Another thick one. This must be the third of the 5 that are in here. Oops, I shouldn't have moved that. That's the focus. I'm running out of paste here. What GSM is the paper you're using? I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know the numbers. In Japanese, the numbering system for paper is based on an old unit of measurement called momme. And these today, they're really hugely variable. This is really not a good batch of paper. They're hugely variable. It's somewhere from like 8 to 11. Hachi momme, juichi momme. I don't know really. But I'm sorry, I don't know the grams number, grams per square meter, I don't know. But it's almost silly to even talk about it because they're so variable. The guy should be ashamed of himself. You know. It's only a living national treasure. The paper news, the new paper, first batch should be here in January. Can't talk about it too much. It's still supposed to be top secret, top secret, top secret. New batch should be here. We've had tests come in during the year past. I haven't talked about it too much. A new young paper maker. We've been working with him to build actually a new kind of paper. And the first batch for system use for sale prints is due to be here in January, late December, early January. Now we're still working on it. We haven't decided what to call it. It's going to need an identifying name. Do we have secrets? I don't know. Actually, there are a couple of secrets here that actually you totally do not know about. I'm not going to talk about it. What do we know about it? Well, we're working with a new paper maker. That's fine. And the reason we didn't want to talk about it too much while we were doing it was because, the paper makers we've worked with have worked hard for us like for 30 years. I keep talking about the living national treasure. I can make Iwano-san, his name. They've done a wonderful job for us, and they're still trying to do a good job, but their world is coming apart. The supply is difficult, the orders are difficult. We're ordering okay, but in general, their world has changed so much. They're facing a huge existential crisis because the son, who is now the main guy in the business, his kids don't want to do it. And yet they're sort of contracted by this living national treasure thing that they accepted from the government to not let outside people work in their place. So he's in the middle of all these conflicting things that go back and forth, and basically he can see the end of the line coming. He's got no successors, and he doesn't see a future in the wood block printmaking business. So the quality is just dropping. It's sort of, of course, given those circumstances, of course the quality would drop. So for the past few years, we've been exploring options, and that's almost now coming to fruition. a new, young, vivid, active papermaker. Nothing to do with being a living national treasure. In fact, he's been thrown out of his Craftsmen's Association. And we've been working with this young guy to build, develop, and get some new paper ready. And the first papers in that batch, as I said, are coming soon. And at that time, we'll be able to talk about it. And at that time then, our Living National Treasure family will hear about that. And I don't know what their reaction's going to be, you know. I really don't know whether they're going to get upset, because I'm basically dumping them after nearly 30 years to get it. Well, I'm not going to dump them. I'm going to keep buying their stuff as long as it's usable. But they may not be so happy about this, you know. So that's the reason why sort of this was semi-secret. I haven't been able to announce it because I didn't really know where it was going. Was it going to be successful or not? You know? It looks like it will be. We're still not 100% sure. So this is why the semi-secrecy, but not so secret, in that because I've needed to talk about it. You know? And they've probably heard through the grapevine because we've been buying mulberry fiber. So they probably know about this already. You know? I don't know. So William's going to be streaming, is he? Have you started? Okay, I didn't catch enough of the streamer. William is streaming now, or is going to be streaming? Okay, if people are starting to leave, we've got 15 minutes or so here left, but if you're starting, if I should get this going on the schedule. Today is a Saturday morning here in Asakusa, and unless I'm as forgetful as I was yesterday, I know there will be a stream tomorrow. I have no other appointments, lumberyard or whenever. And I guess what I'll be doing, this is the first 2 impressions on the owl. There's 4 more impressions to go. They almost certainly won't be finished tonight. So tomorrow morning I'll be back here doing the owls, but it won't be background color. I'll be doing either the key block and or the other colors on the owl himself. So this will be tomorrow morning's work. Sunday night Japan, Saturday for most of the rest of you. Then beyond that, I'm not quite sure. Monday morning what I'll be doing, I really don't know. But it will be something. And then Tuesday will be off, as usual. I'll be over in the Ome workshop on Tuesday. There's a ton of stuff waiting for me there. It's probably the last visit in the year. So yeah, so tomorrow will be owl printing, Monday will be I don't know, and Tuesday will be off for an Ome visit. And beyond that, it's impossible for me to see. There's a ton of paperwork for the end of the year, Kickstarter fulfillment things. I've got to get that book The prints are now almost ready for the big book, the bound copy of 10 prints. I've got to get busy on the binding parts, get the cover printed. We should do a joke stream Monday, you know. Just do a screen share with my computer. You watch while I do bookkeeping or something for the hour. Wouldn't that be fun? Not. Actually, I'm doing much less bookkeeping stuff. Now, of course, Cameron's taking over a whole bunch of that. The binding for that book of 10, it's going to be traditional Japanese sewn binding. I'll be doing it myself. For a run of 10 books. This is another one of those thick sheets. For a run of 10 books, we can't send it outside. They'd just be getting warmed up by the run of 10. So I'll be doing it myself. Is that a bug or a feature? Dave's going to sew with the book. I've done it before. Actually, that should make for some interesting streams, I think. Who knows? Although perhaps not. I perhaps should leave the microphone off. People keep telling me I'm swearing too much. If I do the bookbinding on stream, I might get in trouble. Let's see if Dave actually pays Cameron. Hey, come on, of course he's getting paid. Patreon is paying him, you know. Patrons are giving me the money, like I wouldn't pass it on to him. The year-end plan here too, now the shop's going to be open, and people are talking about Christmas and stuff, the 25th. It's a normal day here in Japan. It's not Christmas in Japan. I don't even know what day of the week. The 25th is coming up. I don't even know what day it'll be. If it's a Tuesday, we'll be closed. If it's a normal day, we'll be open. So we're going to run through, just close Tuesdays, run through to the end of the year. Be open on the 31st, I think. Again, just irrelevant of what day it is. We'll be closed on Tuesday. And then we're going to be closed 1, 2, 3 in January. So all through the rest of December, we'll be doing our normal schedule, just simply closing on Tuesdays, up to the evening of the 31st. And then we'll be out of here. I won't be out of here, but we will be closed. The front door will be locked, 1, 2, and 3. And I intend to get a whole bucket of stuff done. There'll be nobody here, there'll be no customers, there'll be nothing. It's going to be a real catch-up time for me. Then the shop opens again on the 4th, so the streaming schedule will be back up and running on the 4th. We'll put these details up later as we get closer. Oh, a thin one. So much variability in this paper. Two sheets left. This is the third group, right? Out of the 4 groups that are here. Oh, the blog updating. Yes, yes, yes. I recognize the name now. Mr. 86. Okay, so. I didn't make the connection here again. Sorry. I haven't checked in on a few days. Thank you very much for the work you've been doing there. Does everybody else on the stream know about that? I don't know. Just so that people know what's going on here, I know, updating the blog, I asked for help. I've been ignoring our Mokuhankan blog for years. I've been posting stuff on Facebook, but of course Facebook posts disappear. They're gone minutes after they're done, hours after they're done, they're gone. So we're transferring a bunch of the more interesting Facebook posts, ones that have meatier content, over to our blog, so that it has a chance to get picked up later on. Google will look at it. People will read some of these things later when they go back to see more information about what we've been doing. And this gentleman, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ginji86, I'm sorry, I don't know how you read that. He's been trucking along day after day after day, going through the old Facebook posts, pulling down the images and putting them up onto our blog at mokuhankan.com/conversations. It's not going to change the world overnight, because these are old posts that are just getting backdated, but it gets the record out there. It gets a searchable database of the things we've been doing for the past few years. It's really, really helpful. It's totally incredible, impossible that I would ever have time to do this myself, you know. That's 3 groups done. No, I know, whatever, I know, I guess all of them would be best. When I said that just now, the more important ones, I think there must be some that are just totally trivial that if they get done, it's fine. If they don't get done, it didn't matter. I don't know, because I don't remember what we've posted over the years. So sure, no problem, just please, please continue as you're doing. If there's something you see that you think, my God, this is so trivial, this doesn't need to be on the blog, if you see something like that, then go ahead, use your own judgment and pass on it. It's up to you. I didn't mean to give you more specific, detailed instructions. I'm sorry. So. We can't have too much information over there. So. Do I pay him in owls? How many owls per hour? Yeah, I don't think it matters if you've put something in there. Don't worry about unpublishing. It doesn't matter. It can't hurt by having things in there. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to interfere with what you're doing. So. I know the ones I was most concerned about myself were the ones that were meteor posts talking about the wood searchers and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter. Anything, it's okay. It's not like it's taking up room on the blog. It doesn't matter. It's too bad, like we weren't doing this maybe a year ago, you know, when I had some extra Bitcoin, I could have given him a few little Bitcoins for this. For what it's worth, we've stopped now, you know, this is obviously an obvious thing. We've stopped taking Bitcoin in the shop and for subscription prints. You know, we were, for the past couple of years, I've been taking Bitcoin. And over the past couple of years, I guess I've taken, I don't know how many, whatever, a couple of dozen Bitcoin have come through the shop. And my policy has been always with that, not to play games and currency investment, you know, just whatever. If somebody pays by Bitcoin that evening, take it to an exchange and just sell it off. Because I didn't want to play the game of, is it going to be worth more? Is it going to be worth less? Whatever. So over the past few years, there was a couple of people who paid for all their subscription prints for maybe 2 years by Bitcoin, which would have added up to, I don't know how many coins, because it's all been in bits and pieces, but maybe a total of 9 or 10 or 11 Bitcoin have been through here. But always, as I said, I sold it off every night. I didn't keep them because I didn't want to play the game. I mean, I'm not the only person who tells this story. You know, people, whatever, they buy lunch for a friend with Bitcoin 2 years ago, and now they could have, whatever, you know, bought a car with it instead, so. But as I said, I've stopped taking it. I shut down the part of the website that accepts Bitcoin, and we don't take it in the store anymore. Not that anybody would want to use it, I think. It's become useless now as a medium of exchange. It was sort of trying to do both things, wasn't it? It was trying to be something for exchanging, for paying with things, and it just became, I don't know, bizarre. So same way now, we wouldn't walk around with pieces of gold in our pocket to try and buy things. Gold now is simply for, other than industrial uses, gold is now simply for investment. It's no longer meaningful as an item of currency. And Bitcoin, it seems, has gone that route. So we're out of the game. We're not interested in it anymore. You know. We're not going to play currency manipulations. You're joking about the Apple stock, right? You've read the story a week, have you? enough of those stories. By the time you get to my age, everybody my age has these stories, you know. The generation before me, I had some IBM stock that I got for $1 a share back in 1956, you know, or whatever. That's the generation before me. My generation is the Apple stock we passed up on. Then my kids' generation is the Bitcoin they didn't buy. We each have our own stories to show. Maybe I'm in all of those generations, not the IBM group. Story week, I can't. I mean, on top of everything else, you know, just I can't. I would love to do it. There are a bajillion stories, but I just can't. I'm sorry, you know. It was something that was nice for a while. What was it, about 10 years? I don't know. It was only possible to do Story Week when my life was quiet, you know. I just had so much personal time. I sat in the evenings and what's next week's story going to be, you know. I had no employees. I had enough orders to live on, but nothing beyond that. My kids were grown up and gone. I had tons of time to myself. In fact, too much time to myself. So maybe that's what Story Week was. It was a chance to sort of talk to people. I don't know. But now, I guess from the consumer side of it, from your side of it, Story Week has pretty much just been replaced by YouTube, you know. Rather than a little tiny 300-word story once a week, there are now more involved YouTube stories. Not every week, you know. Did you hear the sound of the shutter downstairs opening up? Guy on the first floor. Time's up. I don't care about the clock. I got about 10 sheets left in this batch. So as long as Kawai-san is downstairs okay. I didn't hear the doorbell, but Kawai-san's probably downstairs. He's opened up. He's doing his job. I'm going to keep going until this pack is finished. As I said, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's keep going until they're done. Unless I get called up from downstairs. Called down from downstairs. Those of you who have to go, please go ahead. Too much mess around the edges now, building up after 40 sheets or so. soft corner on this one. I think I'll use the other side. Can I ask, how has the focus thing been? We had so much trouble with the focus last time I was up here doing this. Has the focus pretty much stayed okay this time? As I told you, I told the focus, the spot focus, before I had it touched here. Now I've told the spot focus to focus on that white dish. Yeah, seems okay. So we're better now. The microphone is off me. The microphone is clipped to the bench over there. The focus is on there. So gradually, after months, am I learning how to use this stuff? I think we're getting some fan noise in the mic, It might have been interesting to put something in between them. Block the direct noise from the computer. Is that better? I've put a little piece of wood between the mic and the computer. Nice joke. Not so much fan noise today. We'll see how much fan noise we get in the shop today. Well, I took the noise filter off the other day because it seemed... Should we try that? Put it back? I know if I take the audio right here, filter, add, noise suppression, okay. So we've just added a noise suppression filter. Has it made any difference? Better, worse? Better? Good, good, good. I get the idea. Okay, so mic off my body, barrier between the mic and the computer. Thank you. But how does it go, when I'm not talking or when I talk or when I rub the paper making all the noise? Does it handle all the different types of sound that's happening here today? That was the reason we turned it off before, because it was too much, I've got the volume at 80%. What are we working on today? You get 3 guesses. We're almost at the end of the day here. There's about, I forget, there's 5 or 6 sheets left here today. Francis, Mr. Francis, you took a gamble there. Nobody would cut in on you, right? Looking good now. This is one coat. There's going to be a second coat on top of this, for those of you who haven't seen this before. As if there were such people. For those of you who dropped in partway through the chat here, back at the beginning I mentioned, the reason for yesterday's disruption was that I had forgotten to mention, to tell the stream people the day before, that I would be off Friday, yesterday. I had known about it weeks in advance, but I just had forgotten to mention it on the stream, so I just did a no-show. I'm sorry. We were out at the lumber markets in Kiba, and we found a little bit of wood. I posted a photograph of some of the wood on the fan page, the Facebook fan page. And the deeper news was that although we didn't find wonderful wood yesterday, we did make a good connection with a person who was going to search for some logs for us up in the North Country over this winter. I mean, that's his normal job. What he's going to add to his list is to look for wood that might be suitable for us. So it's if things come together, if he remembers, if he finds some wood, if I can afford it, if we can find a way to get it back to Tokyo, then we'll have some chance to play with a nice big huge log of cherry. Have I ever been to Fukui? Dozens of times. That's where our papermaker lives. Many, many times I've been there. I don't know how many in 30 years. I can't count. It's an interesting destination on its own, but for us, the specific reason to go there is because that's where our paper is made. So. Last time I was up there would have been back in the summer, I guess. I went to drop in on Iwanasan, our main papermaker. I went to see them. In July, August, I can't remember. It's not an easy place to get to from here. It costs a bunch, like back and forth on the train, it's easily over what would be $300 US. And if I fly in, then I got the rent-a-car problem, and I don't drive, so. For me, the only answer really is to just take the train up there. 4 sheets left here this morning. Quite a bit of pilling still. Getting the second coats on is going to be a challenge. Three sheets. Nice work. Going to be beautiful prints. They have to be finished over the weekend. We'll be sending them Sunday afternoon. I have to have them finished by Sunday afternoon so that we can send them out to Ome, our Ome shipping center, and they'll be packed Monday morning. I can't say all. I don't know how many there are in here. Nobody's been counting. There's like 50 or 60 in here. They're not all sold. I guess about half of them are already spoken for. Orders that came in yesterday, last night. These are the prints that will be used to fill those orders on Monday morning. And probably by the time Monday morning comes, this whole batch might be spoken for. So we may be, we may meet again under similar circumstances. The thing about cars in Japan, it depends where you are. If you're in the countryside, it's essential, absolutely essential. The country trains are gone. There's no buses out there. If you're in the country, you need a car. If you're in town, you don't. It's sort of as simple as that. In town meaning like Tokyo, Osaka. Parking in the city is just insane, whatever. I mean, having a car is just, unless you're the type who wants to do Sunday drives out in the country and stuff like that, whatever. I've never driven in Japan, don't ever intend to. I gave up my driver's license when I was still back in Canada. Early 30s. I had a couple of near close calls. Typical kid, 25, 30 years old. I'm such a good driver, such a good driver. And of course, none of us are. We think we are, but we're not. So I had a couple of close calls and thought, I do not want to be doing this anymore because I could see how I could end up, dead or something. So I gave up my license even while I was still in Canada. And never picked one up here at all. No reason to, absolutely no reason to here. And unless I said I moved to the country or something, then it's essential. So. Driving, hopefully that era is soon behind us, I think it's the last sheet. So here we are. Oh, it's the heavy one. It's the 5th heavy one from that single thing that was in there. So I get a workout for the last one here. Wouldn't that be the case? All right. Tack it down first. Hand under my bum to lift the body up, which puts pressure right down my arm. So it's body weight. Now we're not trying to push harder. I'm trying to lift up my body. And now the power just goes down. I'm resting on my left arm. That is one thick piece of paper. Anyway, there we are. Too bad we had to end on a bad one. Might be okay, might not be okay. No way to tell you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there we are. That's it for today. Nothing special happening, I'm sorry. But I think a relatively stress-free, quiet stream. Tomorrow morning, I'll be back here, same time, same station. I'll be doing more work on these tonight. So what you're going to see tomorrow is not just a direct pickup from this. Tonight, I'll be doing the second level of blue. And the key block, maybe. So tomorrow we'll probably see colors. I don't know. Excuse me, time for breakfast. Okay, guys, thanks very much. Excuse me again, sorry, apologizing about the mistake yesterday of forgetting to tell people that I was going to be off. Here we are, signing off. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same station. Step 1. Camera. Off. Okay, here we go. Good night. Bye-bye.